Oh, aloha everyone. Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com. We're going to make another weekend video for everyone. There's a lot to go over, and that's only because a lot of things are working, but not everything. So obviously, like always, we're going to start out with the overall market analysis. Then I'm going to go over some end-of-day sell signals just to prove to you guys that, hey, trading is trading. You're not going to win on every trade. Might as well show you some of my losers because I do like to show everybody the winners. We'll go over the current winners that I am long that did extremely well the past week. And then I'm going to show you an example of two stocks that have been in the longer term end of day portfolio for the website that I was shaken out of that are hitting all-time highs. And then, of course, we'll have one new long position for everyone to take on Monday if it triggers. It's got to trigger. But first off, let's go over the market. The S&P 500 via the SPY, since I trade the SPY, is nearing new all-time highs. Of course, once again, we are at the upper range, the upper boundary line around the 302 level. What you don't see over here is the MACD, PPO, and stochastics, RSI, whatever you want to look at. If you just go to stockcharts.com and take a look at the daily, you will see that once again, just like from this point right here to this point right here, there's negative divergences everywhere. There's like even you can just look at this M trend squeeze indicator and you can see that this high is higher than this current high. This is considered to be negative divergence. You can see this high in the time segment volume at the bottom is higher than here. That's considered to be negative divergence. So if the market does break out to new highs, there will be negative divergences everywhere. And that's in everything. MACD, stochastics, RSI, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is, price is all that matters. So if price does break out to all-time highs, comes back, old resistance becomes support, we hold and then hit higher highs, eventually those indicators are going to start showing or agreeing or showing positive divergence with the market. That also being said, I do not like how volume is falling here, but there are some positives, obviously. Like I said, price matters. I'm fully invested on the end of day side, and considering that I'm not putting 5, 10, 20% of my portfolio in each new long position, and it takes 1% signals, which means I have to get long 100 stocks on the end of day basis to get me fully invested. That's saying something, especially when things are not lined up. When we're just looking at the SPY, but this goes for all the indices. The good news is that the time segment volume has been negative since right around September 20th. That has finally crossed above its moving average line, and I know it's hard to kind of see here, but it is curling up the moving average line. That's a good step one. But on the weekly, you can see my trusted time segment volume. Now, I use TradingView to give you a background color. I can't give you a background color on Telechart version 18. But if you go look at my past videos, you'll see that I show you that when the weeklies lined up with time segment volume and price, especially with M trend confirming, good things happen. Vice versa, when TSV is down, you can see price has a tough time. So it's a very trustworthy indicator. But the weekly is nearing a turn above the moving average line. That's good. But once again, on a monthly basis, time segment volume remains negative. Here, I'm going to go and squish this up. So it still remains negative and it's still trending lower. There's no signs of curling. So unless we get an explosive move to new highs, we're easily 1 or 2 months away from that going positive. And on that note, the IWM, you can see what it's done since back here. Look at when time segment volume went negative. It went negative in June to July on a monthly basis and hasn't turned positive since. That's 16 straight months of negativity in this time segment volume, which happens to coincide with the Russell 2000 being down 10% from those highs. But notice when time segment volume is positive and trending higher, especially when M trend is confirming, good things happen. And like I said, watch the old videos. You'll see the rest of what I'm talking about. So with the overall market out of the way, knowing that, hey, it's not great, it's not good, but if we're up at all-time highs with the monthly TSV looking like that and the weekly TSV doing what it's doing in the most recent short term, and now with the daily turning higher, what's this market going to do if and when we do break out to new highs and my time segment volume indicator confirms on the weekly, monthly basis, man, we could be in for an explosive price move higher. Now, if we roll over, all the indicators return lower, then I'll forget everything I said. But things right now look good. All right, let's look at some stocks. Okay, so when it comes to stocks on an end-of-day basis, intraday, I use Telechart version 18 for my intraday trading. For end of day, the slower stuff, which is basically what the big wave trading website is built around for normal people that work regular jobs that can't day trade all day long. I know that it's the most popular way to trade for most people, and I will admit the most explosive gains come intraday when you know what to look for, like with XNET intraday, lighting up my scanners, the very strict scanners that have very tight requirements that require like massive volume and certain kind of float and certain kind of price moves, lighting up everywhere. I did actually get a signal in RBZ the day before and told everybody on the website that this is one of my favorite setups in a long time, because not only is there green all over this chart, not only do I have a beautiful pocket pivot point signal with heavier above average volume with that candle over candle and bot move, everything was confirming this oversold swing trade. 10% short float, RSI, MACD, stochastics, everything confirming, but it decided to run after hours. My good to cancel stop limit was 136. I was willing to buy this on a dip if it dipped intraday to it, and it came close, 6 cents away. But that being said, I didn't get a part of any of this. But RBZ, yes, that it's very rare nowadays, but yes, I got a long signal back here on RBZ. It initially worked, but then after working for just a little bit longer, failed. You never know what's going to do what it does, but RBZ, this setup here was better than this setup here and this setup right here. And even though that this setup here technically on this chart looked better, the internal oscillators didn't look as strong as they did on Thursday with this signal here. You see what happened, nothing I could do with it. But XNet, you're not going to get these kind of moves that often on an end-of-day basis anymore. It's very rare. So the whole point of this is that the slower moving stuff isn't going to produce the kind of returns, but the website is based on those kind of stocks. So not everything works out, and I want to show you what happens when they don't work out. Kellogg was a new long signal back here. Initially worked out. It has completely failed on an end-of-day basis. Full sell signal. 1, 2 lower highs. One high, 2 a lower high, a third lower high, 1 low, a second lower low, a third lower low below the 50-day moving average on a heavier volume is always a full sell signal. So Kellogg's done. What's the total hit on that loss in Kellogg? 3% if we're rounding up. So on an end-of-day basis, not too bad, but hey, at least the loss is low. THG was another long signal. The long signal on THG was right here. You can see big price move, heavier above average volume, green bop. It moved higher without me, but the signal never failed. So right here, I kept the order live. And at some point in here, I've already removed it from the system, so you don't see a white arrow with my entry. I got long this name. Initially it worked, but you can see how it's getting choppy here. Well, it's finally on an end-of-day basis for the website for those that can't day trade all day, that only have a few, maybe minutes, a half an hour each morning or evening for the new long signals. THG has failed, finally. I was completely knocked out whenever it gets this red bop here, and it has this day, and it starts to bounce. My final stop loss then, since it's splitting hairs, went right here. So I believe it was on Thursday, I was knocked completely out of THG. But THG first closes below the 50-day moving average on the 23rd. This is its first heavier volume than the session before, closed below the 50-day moving average on the 24th. And on the 25th, it closes below this low on heavier above average volume. This is what I call a confirmation close below the 50-day moving average on heavier above average volume with red bop final sell signal. What's the damage? Less than 1%. Not bad. I'll take it. But once again, proven to everybody, hey, they don't all work. AY. AY's initial long signal let's see. I gotta check because, like I said, I've already removed these from the system, unfortunately. So I gotta find out when I would have gone long AY. It looks like it would have been right there. So AY's long signal is on the 5th, June the 5th. I get long the next day, and I'm now long AY. And as you can see, it works up. No big deal, no big problem. Holding that 50-day moving average the entire time, and then bam, a close below it. Now, most people using my system, this would be your final stop. 50% would go here. Your final 100% would go here. Overall, though, for me, this kind of velocity, this kind of move on a good up day in the SPY, this is now not a stock I would no longer want to be a part of. So for AY, my final stop is now right here, but I have listed it on an end-of-day basis as a full sell signal. If that is the case, look at AY. It's still a 6% gain. Not too bad. But let's look at one that didn't work out, that went really bad for me. So cash was a new long signal here. I knew that earnings were coming up. Let's see, hold on. I am wrong. Cash was a new long signal. I cheated and I got what I get what I deserve on cash. So cash was a new long signal. It must have been right here or here. Either way, I've already removed it from the system. My apologies. But either way, I took a quote cheater signal ahead of earnings. Why is it cheater? Do you notice how balance of power is falling, going in this direction? Should have never taken that cash trade. But I did, and I got filled on cash, and I got long cash. And as it moved higher, it seemed like I made a wise decision. But I knew earnings were coming up, so I gradually trailed my stops higher. However, it didn't protect me from what came on Friday. And it crashed through all of my stops. And in fact, it filled me on all of them like around 31.02. It basically, Interactive Brokers sent them all through at the same time due to I have no idea how it traded on Friday. I just know that this is what it looks like at the close. I was knocked out of all my stops. My final stop was right here. It was run intraday, but on an end-of-day basis, this is a full sell signal. Now, let's go ahead and use this bar as my entry bar. On an end-of-day basis, what did we lose? A whopping 4%. You know what? That's pretty darn good. And I'll show you how I get shaken out of good stocks. So VEC, do you see that arrow back here? That means that VEC is still a long position on an end-of-day basis, meaning it never failed. However, I decided to get a little too tight. So on this move here, I held it because it was up so much. 50% of my stop goes there. The final part of my stop is right there so I can lock in profits. I get run at 50% on this move lower, but I'm still long. But now as it moves back up, this becomes my final stop. Now, had I been trading properly, this would have remained my final stop. But instead, when this happened here in July, this is what the market was starting to do. So when the market started to sell off like that, I decided to get a little too tight with my stop and move my final stop to here. Initially, it looked prudent, but now look at what VEC is doing. Hitting new highs, and since, without me, 6 months, a little over 6 months, 67% gain without me. What are you going to do? Nothing. Can't cry over spilled milk. PDD. Do you know what I did on PDD? You can see the white arrow. This was the long signal right here. It filled on this session here. So that's when you're long PDD. What did I do wrong? Well, you see that low there? With that move right there, where do you think my final stop should have been? You got it, right there. But what did I do? I, for some odd reason, moved my final stop right there. Now in October during this time, what did the market look like? I'm letting the market influence my decision with stocks that are winning positions. Because if this one fails here, guess what I don't have anymore? Profits. So that's why I moved it there, failed there, locked in tiny profits. Was it worth it? You tell me. Doesn't look like it now, does it? PDD, 33% gain in 2 months. What are you going to do? So with those losers out of the way, and with me showing you that trading is very difficult, it's very hard to be perfect, you're going to lose, let's go into the winners. Recent winners too. Everybody that was remember big wave trading, they got the signals. So VBIV is a signal this day. Candle over candle, heavier above average volume, green bop. I give it to everybody before I send in my orders. You get to front run me. I give you the good to cancel buy stop limit level. It's always a tick over whatever the high of the day is. I give you the stop levels. You get to enter them before me. Now, I don't send the stop levels into the system until it actually fills. I monitor the end of day positions on a side monitor. When they fill, I send in the stop orders. So, like I said, on the buy side, you can front run me. VBIV, straight up. It's actually already hit a profit target, so I'm already out of 50% of it. But you don't have to be. Me, I would recommend putting a profit target here at 84 just in case it does something amazing, and then 149. That's where I know it seems, okay, somebody would tell you to put it like at 147 and maybe don't put it at 84, but he says 84, 82. Do whatever you want to do. There is no right or wrong way. You could also trail trend line up with price, and if it closes below the trend line, get out of all of it. Me, my final stop is right here, but I also have a stop right here just in case it reverses. I want to make sure I lock in gains on the overall position. That being said, in about, 10 days, you have a 20% gain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days, 8 days, 20% gain. That's the power of this methodology. Let's look at a really, really recent new long position. FVRR. Guess who doesn't have a position in it? Me. Why? Because whenever it triggered, this was the signal here. Candle over candle, heavier volume, recent new issue. That's why I like it and will take it even without the above average volume. Increase in BOP right off the 50-day moving average. When this stock went up and through 2180 and triggered my good to cancel buy stop level at 2181, it did not fill because at the time I did not even have 1% available capital for this position. So FVRR, bye-bye. It's moving without me. 2 days, 10% gain. Gotta love it. IRS, this is one that I got filled on. IRS, 2 days, bam, 9% gain. Here's my first profit target. Here's my second profit target. It's kind of splitting hairs, so I think that actually I might have just lied to everybody or given out incorrect information, I should say. 633 is my first profit target on IRS. My then next profit target is 786. If this profit target gets hit, let's say I have 100 shares, that one gets hit, I have 50. I then adjust it to 25 at this level and then maybe 25 there in case it can get up to 1098. You never know. We'll see what happens in the market in the upcoming days. Like I said, right now I'm holding a lot of positions. I teach everybody to hold no fewer than 5 positions at 20% of your account capital each. And in this market, if you do that, you're crazy. The sweet spot is 10 stocks, 10% each, which is where I love to be in the right market. And the least aggressive that I recommend people where you can still manage the positions and not get overwhelmed is 20 stocks, 5% each. I live on Maui. I do this for a living. I have all day long to manage my positions before the next market open. So right now, yeah, I'll hold 100 stocks, 1% each. It's no skin off my back. I sleep well every night because of this, and I have stops. INMD, here's another one that's winning short-term position. 14% gain in 1, 2, 3, 4 sessions. Not too bad. I like it. STKL, here's one that's done very well. 1, 2, 3, 4 days. 23% gain. Just want to also show you STKL, candle over candle, heavier above average volume, pocket pivot point signal, green bop. INMD, new issue, slim quality, candle over candle, heavier volume, BOP has gone positive. So those were the reasons to get into those 2 trades. THO. THO hits my short squeeze scanner ever since this session here about daily. Any day that it starts to move up, I have an intraday short squeeze scanner that looks for certain stocks that have a heavy short float. THO is one of them. On an end-of-day basis, shows up in my max green BOP scan, candle over candle, heavier volume the session before. I'm very familiar with this stock. I take the trade. Triggers and fills the next day, and boy, oh boy, has it worked well. This is why I love getting long stocks with heavy short floats. You saw the RBZ I missed. Here's THO, 21% gain in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sessions. THO. We're going to just run through the others. ALNA, same thing as always. Candle over candle, heavier above average volume. Max green BOP, I get long. It's my 200-day moving average is my first target, so I'm now out of 50% of it, but that's a 25% gain in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. SGEN, already reviewed SGEN once for everybody. This is what it looked like the day that I went long. This is from my Perfect Speculator scan. This is my very top high quality scan based on the book, The Perfect Speculator by Brad Kodeshwar. Candle over candle, heavier above average volume, increase in green bop. Boom, worked out perfectly. 23%. Well, what if it wouldn't have worked out? Well, that's easy. So that's the long signal. I give you the initial stops, right? One stop here on 50% of the position, 2 stops there. I always give 2 stops. I tell you exactly where I'm placing those 2 stops. You know I'm going to have 50% at each, but I also recommend to other traders, hey, have 100% at break even with no commission costs. Never lose a single dime on any of my trade ideas. Or have 50% at break even and then 25% at each levels. Or just one at the very first level, or just one at this level and invest less. It's up to you. Everyone's risk tolerance is different. I give you an idea. You can do it. Another thing to do whenever we went long that stock is, once again, draw that uptrend line. You get long, a close below that initial uptrend line, you're out. SGEN worked out. One more we're going to go through, and you should be familiar with this one if you've been watching these videos. SPWH, it just keeps marching higher and higher and higher. I have moved my final profit stop up to right below here. It's aggressive, but in this market, like I said, I just, I want to make sure that I lock in profits. I'm still not comfortable giving stocks room to work. They either work or I get out. And whenever that time segment volume on a monthly basis is positive on the SPY and Russell 2000, 5, 10, 20% of my account per position, and very aggressive and very loose stops. I'll give it room to work. 59% gain in almost 2 months. Not too bad. So all of those out of the way, the winner, the losers, the missed opportunities, the winners. What's the new long position for Monday? To give everybody OSIS. OSIS, I like the look of this chart off the December 2018 lows. This is a weekly chart off those 2018 lows. I like the overall build of the price and volume action. It isn't perfect, but it is solid. I like here that we bounced right off the 200-day moving average and how we initially broke back below the 200-day moving average and then immediately reclaim following a positive ER. So not only is OSIS an earnings winner, but OSIS also sports, according to FinViz, around a 9 to 10% short float, according to Yahoo, around 12%. I don't have my trade ideas scanners up right now, so I don't know what they have, but let's just say it's safe to say that 10% of OSIS is short. It's CanSlim quality. It's an earnings winner, and we have some tight risk parameters. The most we could lose, is over 6%, and I am looking for a measured move of any of these uptrends. This one's 33%. 33% to 6%. What is that? 5 to 1 reward to risk ratio. Let's say that we can get another similar move from all the way to the December 2018 lows. That's a 60% to 6. That's a 10 to 1 reward to risk ratio. I'll take these all day long. So the game plan with OSIS, with this candle over candle above the 200-day moving average on this heavier above average volume with the pocket pivot point signal, with this increase of green bop is a move. I can't even take this trade until there's 1% capital available in my Interactive Brokers end of day account. Not my Interactive Brokers day trading account, not my Thinkorswim account, not my E-Trade Pro account or E-Trade account, whatever you want to call it, or my Tastyworks account, in my Interactive Brokers end of day account. A move. My good to cancel buy stop limit level would be 102.02. Up and through 102.02. I don't want it to gap up to 103, pull back and get it on a pullback. I only want it if it can trade up and through 102.01 and through 102.02 and get filled there. If that's the case, my personal first stop loss level would be Friday's low a day. My final stop loss level would be Thursday's low a day. You can also, like I said, do all of it at break even, 50% at break even, 25% here, 25% there, or half at break even, half here, or half here. It's all up to you. I'm just letting you know that if I do get that 1% available, I call on this order, it triggers and fills. There's my first stop, and there's my second stop initially. They're dynamic and they change as the stock moves either up or down depending on the volume and how this indicator moves following the move up or down. All right, everybody, please, 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 don't like begging, but I'm just asking. If you can, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, retweet it, share it with your friends, leave a comment if you have any questions or anything. I'm not a professional video maker. I don't even know how to edit these videos. I don't even have a YouTube banner. I don't even know how to build those out. If anybody wants to help me with any of this, I'm willing to work with you if you're willing to help me out on the media side, and maybe we can work out a deal to make you a member of the Big Wave Trading family for a severely reduced cost, or depending on how much work you want to do for me. I appreciate it. You're going to make money with my service. I guarantee that. To lose money with my service means you're not obeying the rules. So keep that in mind. Just give me, let me know via the comment section. I really appreciate the views, the likes. It's all greatly appreciated. All right, I'm drawing this out now.